Your mouth goes dry, your heart is slamming against your ribs, your hands have gone cold, and your voice, when you try it, comes out thin and unsteady. And nothing is even happening. No one is chasing you, no animal is baring its teeth. You are simply standing in front of a room of people who are about to look at you and listen. Stop for a second and notice how strange that is. This terror is older than the podium, older than the microphone, older than the classroom, older than language itself. You have inherited a body that treats a circle of ordinary human faces the way it would treat a circle of wolves. Because, for almost the entire history of your kind, those two things were the same kind of danger. By the end of this, you will understand why a friendly audience can trigger the same alarm as a stalking predator, why your ancestors would sooner die than be laughed at, and why the fear that humiliates you in a meeting is the exact fear that once kept you alive. Stay with me, because the twist is not what you think. Start with your body, because your body is honest. When you rise to speak, your pupils widen. Your blood pulls away from your stomach and your fingertips and rushes to your big muscles. Your breathing goes shallow and fast. Your gut clenches. This is not shyness. This is the full survival response, the same cascade that fires when something large and hungry has noticed you. Your body cannot tell the difference between 100 eyes in a lecture hall and 100 eyes in the dark. To the oldest part of your brain, being watched by many is not a social event. It is a threat report. And here is the thing you were never told. For your ancestors, it genuinely was one. Picture the world your body was built for. A small band, somewhere between 30 and 150 people. No strangers, no crowds, no anonymity. Everyone you would ever know, you already knew. There were no police, no courts, no written law. There was only the group, and the group's opinion of you. That opinion was not a feeling. It was food. It was shelter. It was who shared meat with you in a hungry week, who watched your children while you gathered, who stood beside you when a rival band appeared over the ridge. Your entire life support system was other people deciding you were worth keeping. So imagine the day the band turned to look at you, not with warmth, with judgment. Maybe you had taken more than your share. Maybe you had failed at something the group was counting on. Maybe you had simply become annoying or strange or a burden, and now every face was pointed at you, silent, weighing. That moment, all eyes on one person, was one of the most dangerous moments a human could live through, because the sentence the group could hand down was exile, and exile was not lecture. Exile was death, slow and certain. Alone on the savannah, no one to share the watch at night, no one to warn you, no one to hunt with, you would not last a season. Feel your way into that scene for a moment. The fire has burned low. The talking has stopped. You can hear your own breathing. Every face you have ever loved is turned toward you, and not one of them is smiling. You are not being asked to give a speech. You are being measured against the question every band silently asks of its members. Are you worth the food you cost us? Your body in that circle does exactly what your body does today behind a podium. The heat climbs into your face. Your throat tightens. Your eyes drop. You want more than anything to become smaller, to disappear, to make the looking stop.
And look at what your face does under that gaze, because it gives the whole game away. You blush. Charles Darwin called blushing the most peculiar and the most human of all expressions, and he could find no other animal that does it. Think about how strange that is. Under judgment, your body paints your own face red, broadcasting your embarrassment to the very people you most want to hide it from. Why would evolution build a signal that exposes you? Because in a small band, showing that you cared what the group thought, showing that their disapproval could wound you, was proof that you were still one of them. The blush was an apology the body made on its own. It said, I know I slipped. I still belong to you. Please do not cast me out. This is the part researchers have actually measured, and it is stranger than you would guess. When you are excluded, your brain does not treat it as disappointment. It treats it as injury. The psychologist Naomi Eisenberger put people in a brain scanner and had them play a simple online ball tossing game. Partway through, the other players stopped throwing the ball to them. Left out. Ignored. A trivial thing. A game with strangers they would never meet. And yet, the regions that lit up in the brain were the same regions that process physical pain. Being excluded did not feel like sadness. It registered in the brain as being hurt.
Her collaborator, Kipling Williams, built that little game, and he ran it thousands of times. The result almost never changed. People felt the sting of rejection even when they were told a computer was doing the excluding, even when they were told the other players were not real. The wound landed anyway. It is that automatic. It is that deep. Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary gathered decades of this kind of evidence into a single idea they called the need to belong. Not a preference, a need, sitting alongside food and safety. Human beings are wired to monitor constantly and often without noticing one question. Am I still accepted, or am I on the edge of being cast out? Now put those pieces together and look again at the person standing up to give a speech. When you face an audience, some ancient accountant deep in your skull adds up the eyes and returns a verdict. Many people, all attention on you. Your standing in the group is being decided right now. And if this goes badly, you could be pushed to the margins. The dry mouth, the shaking hands, the voice that will not hold steady, that is not weakness. That is your survival system treating social judgment as a life or death event. Because for 10,000 generations, it was exactly that. Here is the twist. You would expect that fear to be about the crowd, about the size of it, the strangers in it, but it is not really the crowd your body fears. Watch yourself closely and you will notice something odd. Speaking to 1,000 faceless people online can feel easier than saying one honest sentence to 5 people who actually know you. The terror does not scale with the number of eyes. It scales with how much those eyes matter. Because your ancestor never feared a stadium. Your ancestor feared the 20 people whose opinion was the difference between eating and starving. Your brain is not counting the audience. It is asking whether these are your people and whether you are about to lose them. That is why the harshest stage fright often comes not with strangers, but with the wedding toast, the team you respect, the family table. The closer the tribe, the higher the stakes, the louder the alarm. Which means the fear you have been calling irrational is doing something almost tender. It is guarding your place among the people you cannot afford to lose. And once you see that, the whole thing changes shape. The pounding heart is not a malfunction. It is care turned all the way up. Your body sweats and shakes before a speech for the same reason it did before an ancestor stood in the center of the circle. It is trying, with everything it has, to keep you connected, to keep you inside the warmth of the fire instead of out in the cold dark alone. So the next time you stand up and your hands go cold, you do not have to fight your body or feel ashamed of it. You can understand it. That surge is not the sign of a coward. It is a 50,000-year-old guardian, still on duty, still convinced that these people are your whole world. It was right for most of human history. And even now, in a room where no one will exile you, where the worst that happens is an awkward pause, some faithful old part of you still stands guard, dry-mouthed and trembling, ready to protect your place at the fire. Your mouth goes dry, your heart is slamming, and nothing is chasing you at all, except the oldest need you own, the need to be kept.